Well, hello everyone and welcome again to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. Today we'll be talking about living with pain and finding your joy. My guest today came from a life of refuge, but overcame that pain to find his own joy, to become a successful individual working with the government of Dubai. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest, Mahmoud Alburai. Mahmoud is currently serving as the CEO of Dubai Real Estate Institute. He is the Vice President of an International Real Estate Federation, for Arabic countries since 2016, and sits on the board of International Real Estate Society. He's also the chairman of the United Nations Global Compact UAE since 2015, and represents the MENA region, the United Nations Global Compact Advisory Board, since 2 years ago. In his role, he's led such SDG-driven initiative. He started his Youth Ambassador Program in 7 UAE universities, recruited over 150 youth to train them to help businesses become more sustainable. He's also led Women Empowerment Principle platform in the UAE, with 60 companies signing up to his program. Recently, he's established a think tank in Geneva under the name of the Middle East Sustainable Development Institute to lobby governments, businesses, communities to action the SDG in the Middle East. Mahmoud completed his MBA in finance from American University in Dubai in 2010. He is doing multiple degrees. He's doing his PhD. But what's more inspiring about him is that he came from a place of pain, from a refuge, to become so successful today, helping others. Meet my amazing guest, Mahmoud, as he shares his own story and his own uplifting experience to tell everyone that you could live with pain, but you could still find your joy. Meet my guest, Mahmoud. Well, hello everyone and welcome again to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. Today's conversation is truly inspiring because it will teach you that it doesn't matter what your background is, you can still find joy. You can overcome your pain and live the life you truly believe you want to live. My guest, as I said in my introduction, Mahmoud, will be telling you about his own journey and how he's managed to find his joy. It's not an easy ride because a lot of us think, you see people now, they're so successful and you think it's just an easy ride that you just got it, that they were lucky. Not necessarily the case. Listen to his story. Mahmoud, thank you for joining me. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me today. Let me share my story. It's a story, I call it a story of hope. We're in a life. Yes, we are one day going to leave this life, but at least leave it with remarkable footprints. And this is what I've been trying. So I was born in a refugee camp in 1983, and this refugee camp is called Jabalia Refugee Camp. It's the largest refugee camp in Gaza, in Palestine. I just woke up in this life and found myself in a refugee camp. So I said, what I did wrong to be here living such a life that it doesn't look very promising at that time. And I started looking at, I was very young. I realized that there's not so many options for you. And the only option is to do something different and not to give up and not to lose hope. A lot of people lose hope from day one. I said, no, I'm not going to lose hope. I'm going to fight till the end. And I want to make a difference. And I want to be a person that my family, my community is proud of. So being in a camp, you don't have so many things to do. You play with your peers and small, places, sand, playground, no parks, no kids areas where you can enjoy life. But we try to get the most out of it. And the lesson that I learned from day one, having my dad to be a teacher and my mom was a teacher as well, is it's education, and education only that will get you out of this. So from day one, I started my journey of education, grade 1 till grade 12, studying day and night. And you can imagine, and a lot of time we don't have access to electricity. So I had to do my studying in the morning till afternoon, because at night we don't have electricity. We need to use to studying with a kerosene lamp, where I started studying, and I still smell that diesel from that lamp. And I started my education getting number 1 in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and I started to say, why should I be number 1 in my class? Why not number 1 in the school? Why not number 1 in the area? Why not number 1 in the whole city? Why not in the country? And I started raising the bar, studying hard day and night. And I said, the only way to get out of this refugee camp is to get the highest grade in this place. And then maybe I can get an opportunity to go and do my university outside. And then, just to make the long story short, I had so many painful incidents in between. So my mom got cancer when I was in grade 5, and my dad at that time was not in home, was in prison for a few months. So I had to take care of my mom, and I was going to school, but at the same time going back home, cooking for my sisters and my brothers. And I was 10 years at that time. But my mom was fighter till the end, but unfortunately she could not make it. And one day before she died, she said, Mahmoud, my only advice to you, when I die, I don't want you to attend my funeral. I want you to go to school. So I got this deep in me that I want to make her proud. So at the same time the funeral of my mom was happening, I was in my class attending to my courses and trying to be the best student. So it wasn't an easy journey. I lost a lot of friends throughout the years before the last year of high school. But then when the high school took place, there was also another incident, another big thing, which is the intifada at that time, or the uprising. School were closed, electricity was also shut down most of the time, but I insisted in being number 1. And guess what? I got what I wanted. And I got number 1 in high school. I got the highest in my country with 99.7% after 18 years of continuous believing in myself. And also, I want to live to the expectations of my mom. I want to make her proud. I want to get out of this camp, not only for me to enjoy, but also to give back to this community and help my dad raising my brothers and sisters, getting them the education they deserve. So my first lesson in life, not give up. Second lesson is education, education, education. And education for us as middle income or low income family is education, is a rescuer, will rescue you, will save you from being in that category forever. So I don't want to take this story long, but this was the first part of my story. And before I talk about the other stuff, when I came here to Dubai, it was another different thing.
I have to, because this story is so powerful. Because what you've just said is not what a lot of people think today with social media, with all this. Everyone thinks the most powerful tool we have is the social media. So a lot of kids now today are spending that time on that platform rather than making that time and saying, look, the one thing you always have, the one thing that will always may open doors for you is your education. When you see things like this going on, how would you advise a youngster who is confused, not sure, just thinking, this short-term game is all I want to do? What message of hope would you give to someone who's struggling about the education? Because this is a serious message you just said. Education is the power.
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm really worried about the generation, or the current generation, the future generations, because I see that there's so much about short term. There's so much driven by commercial life and economy, and it's all about making money. It's all about becoming rich, and it's all about showing off, and it's all about not paying so much attention to education. I think in the long run, what will pay off is how much you invested in your personal development, in your education, and your link with community. I don't want to say that social media is a negative thing. Actually, it's a positive thing, and if it's used in the right way. So such a story that we're telling now is going to go through social media, and you're one of the best examples, and millions of followers, influencers who believe in what you're doing. So it's a right channel to get the message across, rather than depending on traditional media, which sometimes are biased and so on. However, I think the current generation have opportunities of doing even better than what we did. I remember, Anne, when I tried to get in touch with people to save me and give me a scholarship, I had the fax machine in my neighbor's home, and that was my only way to get in touch with the world. So I sent a fax letter to Dubai, and this fax letter got the attention of the ruler of Dubai, and he brought me to Dubai. So I believe in the power of technology. We had very primitive technology at that time, fax machine, which is my favorite. I love it because it saved my life. So social media is another tool. We can get our message across. We can also educate ourselves. We can build our brand. So the most important thing is our personal brand. Now, how we build it, how we build the right capabilities, how we build the resilient people. I think the most important feature and characteristics of a human being is resilience. And COVID has taught us that if we don't build resilience in ourselves, we will become obsolete and we will lose the edge. So it's really important to look at all blessings we have in today's world. It's much more than our generation. I'm still young, but I still believe that if I had the tools of today and the past, I would have done so much better than what I did. So
I have to ask you how you came to Dubai. I'm sorry, I have to really ask, because you were in a story where you were the most, you got the highest mark. How did that transpire from you being the highest mark in where you were, now coming over to Dubai? How did you do that?
Well, I almost lost hope, and I was sitting with my dad and I said, I'm the highest in my country, but I don't have a scholarship. And my dad's salary is not enough to cover my other brothers and sisters' education. So I had no choice but to get a scholarship. So we knocked on every single door. And my dad was reading a newspaper at that time, and he said, look, Mahmoud, there is an entity in the UAE. They have an ad in today's newspaper saying that they are supporting people. Let's send them a fax. We will lose nothing. I said, wow, that's a good idea. Let's do it. So we send a fax letter saying, this is my story, and I hope that I get an opportunity to be educated in the United Arab Emirates. And all of a sudden, I almost lost hope. And all of a sudden, I got a call. And this call, this is the first time I received an international call in my life. And it was in a different accent that I'm not used to, an Lebanese accent. And the guy said, is this Mahmoud Alburai? I said, yes, speaking. He said, this is Elias Boussaib from the American University in Dubai. I'm delighted to inform you. I'm telling you exactly the same words because it's still stuck here in my mind. I'm calling to tell you that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum has fully adopted you to come and do your education here in Dubai, covering all your costs. Are you willing to come? I said, well, wait. This must be a joke. Are you serious? He said, yes. Send me your passport and I will get you the visa to come to Dubai. I never had a passport in my life. So I said, my dad, I don't have a passport. What should we do? He said, okay, let's go and issue one. We issued a passport. We sent him a copy. And within 24 hours, got my visa and ticket. And first time on airplane, it was even at night. And I said, oh my God, how is the pilot going to see at night? Oh, let's see how we're going to get to Dubai. And I got to Dubai, got to the American University in Dubai with zero English at that time, very little English knowledge, and getting an opportunity to study engineering in the American University in Dubai. I found my room ready. I found my meals covered and paid by the ruler of Dubai. I had a salary of $700 a month, and I never thought about it. Even if you dream, you will not get to that level, but I never gave up. And uh, His Highness at that time told me, I want you to be, as you got #1 in Palestine, I want you to be #1 in the American University in Dubai.
Oh
So
my.
I said, a university with 100 nationalities, and everyone is expert and everyone is English fluent, and I barely speak few words in English. How can I do it? But I never gave up. I invested in English and in enhancing my language, in knowing people, because I was in a closed society. I only know refugees, but then I came to Dubai. I got to know a lot of people from different religions, different cultures, and I got to mix with people. And this actually gave me a lot of, a lot of positivity in life. And I started talking to people about the sufferings of refugees and so many thousands of people who are looking for opportunities and hope. So I started to become the voice of refugees and the voice of people who need opportunities. And we're normal people. We're opportunities. We should not be looked at as risk. If we're giving the opportunity, we'll do well. And this is what I did. I got the highest mark in the university, and I got the opportunity to speak in front of the graduating class of 2006, was attended by His Highness the Ruler of Dubai, and also Sherry Blair was there at that time. And this speech was my story that I'm telling you right now. And you can see people in tears. You can see people. I've seen an Egyptian lady. She told me, I've been married for 20 years, and this is the first time I see my husband's tears. So, and yeah, I mean,
that's how it
tell
goes.
you,
That is truly amazing. So how did you now transpire into real estate? Because I see you have a big passion about real estate. It's something you love. Where did that love for real estate come from?
well, I did my bachelor in electrical engineering and communications, but when I finished my university, I was directed by the ruler office to be part of Dubai Holding, which is the largest company owned by the government of Dubai. And they do a lot of things, but one of them is real estate. So they did a rotation program for me, different departments, 4 departments. And at the end, I said, I'm going to choose this department, the real estate. And why? Because real estate is our home, real estate is our office, shopping mall, hotel, everything we see in life is real estate. And studying engineering and electrical engineering, I said the combination of electrical engineering and real estate is what we call smart cities and future cities. So why not I become the engineer who thinks real estate? So a few months later, I was sent to Singapore to do my master's in real estate, and I got the highest as well. In Singapore, I got to educated on real estate, came back to Dubai again, and I started working in Dubai Holding all the way till I reached to be development manager, being part of so many development projects in the region. Then I continued my education. I said, #1 rule in my life, I'm not going to stop learning on a daily basis. So with 3 masters now and 1 PhD, and from a student at the American University in Dubai, I'm back to the American University in Dubai as a professor. So you can imagine the same classroom. You were a student with little language skills at that time, and all of a few years later, you come back and you teach students. So, and I started, I did a master's in cities from London School of Economics and doctorate in comparativeness of real estate from France. So I invested in education and real estate education. At the same time, I got an opportunity to work in different entities, Dubai Holding, to Dubai government entities, to being working with the United Nations. And this is what I've been always wanted to do, to be part of the UN, work on refugees, on sustainability, on climate change. So, becoming a multi-stakeholder person who has a helicopter view. I don't only think real estate, but I also have my involvement in sustainability, in SDGs, in education, and teaching. So uh, many things at the same time, and they all helped me actually to enhance my knowledge in real estate and becoming a better city changer. And I got recently chosen by the United Nations as one of 10 city changers in 2021.
Yeah.
And those guys are the ones who are contributing to the sustainability agenda.
I like what you said about real estate because I was listening to one of your videos, and one of the things you said is that real estate is a great opportunity. Everywhere you look, you see real estate. But one thing people fail to realize is the pain of being in the real estate market, the challenges of how to go into real estate, overcome those pain, and making sure that whatever your investment is successful. What are some of the challenges you see in the real estate market, especially in Dubai, and how are you improving that and making it better for investors coming in?
Mhm. That's a great question. And if you allow me just 1 minute to say something related to SDGs when it comes to housing. So I think one of the SDGs Sustainable Development Goals is to build affordable housing in any city. And this is actually one major important thing. And when I became part of the Dubai government, this is something I really worked hard on, to put affordable housing at the center of housing policies. So today in Dubai, we have a lot of stock that is affordable housing. If you come to Dubai 10 years ago, it has been always about luxury and high-end, but today you have affordable housing. So to measure success of real estate markets, you need to make sure that they have stock available for working class who are willing or who can rent at affordable prices. This makes cities thrive and succeed. When it comes to real estate, there are always challenges, especially in developing countries and in semi-transparent market, which is the knowledge, the real estate data and information. To make a real estate decision, this is your life saving, you want to invest and put 1 million dirhams or 2 millions in buying a real estate, then you need to make sure that you have the right data and information on the prices, on supply, on demand. So this was something missing in a lot of markets. So we worked hard on making the market transparent so people can make, or investors can make, the right decision. Also, the quality of built environment is important. So when you build fast, sometimes it comes at the expense of quality. So how we can get the right trade-off between quality and cost is another thing. And this is why I was saying that we have a lot of stock now that is affordable yet high quality. So third challenge is that to measure affordability of any real estate housing, we always say that people should not spend more than 1/3 of their salary on housing. So if they spend more than 1/3, this means we have a housing gap issue that the government and private sector should work on. So a lot of time private sector like to invest in luxury because this is where they make money. So who will invest in affordable? It's usually government or non-profit organization. But this thing has to change, and it's changing in a lot of countries. Fourth is a lot of developments are not being built for sustainability. You know, 1/3 of CO2 and greenhouse emissions is coming from built environment and real estate. So if we don't build the green, and especially nowadays we talk about COVID and how the impact of built environment on our health, we need to build the green. We need to consume less. We need to save more. We need to consume less of energy. We need to be more cautious and more careful about how we spend the resources of the globe for the future generations. So real estate industry has an ethical responsibility and sustainability responsibility to build better, especially after COVID. We talk nowadays about how we build better. So there's so many challenges. But the most important challenge is affordability. More than 1 billion people globally, they don't have access to a housing. They have substandard housing. Many other millions, 800 million people who are financially overstretched because of the housing. So we need to invest more. We need to make this industry more democratized so people can have access to house. It's a human rights to have home and a good quality home.
And you're the best person to talk about it. I think from your own experience, you know how painful it is when you're not in a comfortable environment. And that's why, just you're the perfect person to understand that and feel those people's pain and then advocate for it. You recently set up a think tank in Geneva to lobby governments on achieving sustainable development goals. What are the message when you communicate to the government that you want them to understand on these issues?
Well, sustainability is a very cross-cutting sector, diverse area. There are 17 sustainable development goals. The priorities are different from country to country. So some countries maybe need to focus more on good health, good education. But the message that I was always reiterating is SDG number 11, which is about how we build sustainable communities and sustainable cities. So the message is that, and this is before COVID, I was always saying that if we don't invest in the green country, in green communities from today, we're going to pay the price. And this is why a lot of research, one is done by Harvard, shows that countries who have higher rate of air pollution has more death rates than other countries when it comes to COVID. There is a relationship between our environment and our health, and this is something we really need. We spend 90% of our time inside buildings and homes, and especially in hot countries like GCC, especially Dubai. So we need to build better. We need to look at all these parameters. We should focus on economy. I totally agree. We cannot go to businesses and tell them, forget economy, focus on social and environment. But we need to make sure that there are three elements, social, economic, and environmental, and we need to pay attention to them. We need to make sure that we are investing in them. We are building better places for people. And real estate has been always a major factor in creating cities. It determines how we work, where we work, how we interact, how we socialize, even it impacts political life and so on. So I always go to old cities and old countries and fall in love with them because, they were built for people, not built for cars. Our cities now are being built for cars, being built for this connectivity. Whereas if you go to old cities, you will see a lot of areas where people can gather. You see a lot of walkability areas, biking, people's health is better, and so on. So I always link sustainability to health. I always link sustainability to future, to competitiveness, and long-term competitiveness, not short-term. Because short-term is focused about economy and only economy. But if you look at long-term, you need to build a social sustainability in the system. You need to build environmental sustainability that will complement the economy.
I mean, one of the things you've done, and you've done it so well, is establishing a woman empowerment principle platform. I mean, most people, when they're on what you're doing, they forget the other side, the women and empowering them. But you did this, and you led in the UAE. You worked with 60 companies. They signed up for your women empowerment principle commitments. Why did you think that this is something you needed to do for the women to empower them? What was going through your mind, and why were you so passionate about helping?
That's a good question. I mean, in 2015, we started something called the United Nations Global Compact in the UAE, which is a universal, and it's the largest CSR initiative led by the United Nations. And I had the pleasure and honor to be the first chairman of this committee. And at that time, when we looked at the Arab region, we found that we've been always criticized that women are not given equal rights as men, and women are not in high positions in businesses, especially in business. I'm talking about business. So we said we want to make a difference. We want to show the best examples coming from this region. So we gathered the companies here in Dubai and we told them, well, we should work on women empowerment. We should enhance women opportunities. We should give them equal opportunities to men. They should be CEOs. They should be in high positions. There shouldn't be glass ceiling. And we started asking these companies to sign on women empowerment principles. And we had many companies signing for that and implementing that. So part of the United Nations Global Compact is human rights. And one of the human rights is women rights. And women rights has been really a top thing in our agenda, along with the youth empowerment. So I remember in 4 years of being a chairman, we focused so much on women empowerment and youth empowerment, because we cannot have a strong economy if half of society is disabled and not giving their opportunities. The opportunity cost of not fully utilizing important resources, which are half of our society, the women, will be having a major impact on the economy. And at the same time, maybe people think that it has to do with religion, but in our religion actually is very supportive of women being in leadership position and women being in giving their opportunities and respect. And this is something we've been always talking to companies here in the region to implement. So we got this now up and running, and a lot of companies are part of it. And we started, I remember being in a lot of panel discussions, and it's only male dominated. Nowadays, I go and I find half of these panels are female. I see a lot of board directors are female. I see a lot of programs directed towards educating women to be on board of directors. So it's a different era, to tell you the truth. And we're not talking about equality. We talk about empowerment, which is another level, which is going to the second level of it. So yeah.
Another thing you do is the youths. You set up a youth ambassador program. So you're not just looking after women. You're not just focusing on the affordable housing, making sure that's inclusive for many. You also look at the youth ambassador program at universities to help businesses become more sustainable. Why do you feel it's so important to engage the youths in this program?
Because if we talk about what is the definition of sustainability, sustainability is having enough resourcing for the future generations. So how do we determine the future generations without them being part of it? They should lead it. They should be part of it. And the change will come from the youth. And now, if you look at the trends and surveys, the optimism is coming from youth. We are seeing movements from so many countries. Youth are leading it, and they're calling governments and they're calling businesses to be more responsible, ethically, to be more sustainable. And to tell you the truth, what we will see, and this is determined by the youth movements, is that companies who will survive in the future are the companies who are paying attention to sustainability, who are paying attention to what is it that youth want and youth desire. So we started youth clubs in 7 universities in the UAE with hundreds of students starting projects. We also allocated them to companies to support them with writing their sustainability reporting. And a lot of these students, when they finished university, they become sustainability officers in these companies. So we are preparing for the future. Maybe our generation and the older generations have done little to sustainability. Let's be, if we look at the disasters that are happening to the environment, most of it has been happening for the last 40, 50 years with the Industrial Revolution and all these advancement, which is great for the humanity, but at the same time comes at the expense. So giving youth the driver's seat is important in influencing companies, influencing governments, and also leading the future agenda. We need innovation, and innovation will come from youth, from startups, because the current way of looking at sustainability, if we keep doing what we're doing, we are going to lose it. Yeah. And if we consume the resources of the globe as we are consuming today, we need 5 times of these resources, which we don't have. So youth are the future, and if they're giving this opportunity, they will make a difference.
Expo 2020 was a huge success. I mean, I saw it everywhere here in the United Kingdom. Everyone talked about it. Even in Africa, my continent, I saw so many heads of state talk about how successful Dubai really made an input, especially on the real estate side. They made accommodation for so many people. They built lovely hotels. They just did so much. In your view, how has this made you so proud? Just to look at the work you guys have been able to produce at such, if you leave that to someone else, that would be so difficult. But you guys just overcame the challenge, even in spite of COVID, and still made it a success.
Mm-hmm. Well, being here in Dubai for the last 21 years, and, I came as a young person and I'm still young. Dubai has been actually, it's a very unique model of development. And if you look at it, and I did my actually doctorate on Dubai competitiveness, you will find factor number 1 is the visionary leadership. And this leadership always want the best. And this inspires the private sector as well as the government sector. So with zero resources, people think that Dubai has oil. Oil now is less than 5% of the GDP, but it's the leadership, it's the openness of economy, it's the ease of doing business. You can set up your business organization in few minutes. You can sell and buy real estate in 10 minutes. You don't need to go through days and months of visibility. It's a country that's tolerant. You have 217 nationalities of people living here. And if you look at the United Nations, you will see 193. But in Dubai and UAE, we have 217 nationalities living peacefully with all religions, all cultures. We love each other. We have respect, tolerant society. Imagine you are in a company, you have colleagues from 50, 60 countries, and you're thinking together to solve a certain problem. What are the solutions? So we're blessed to be here, to tell you the truth. And the amount of opportunities, there's no discrimination. People can, you will find a lot of success stories. A lot of unicorns were born here in Dubai from expats, founders. So we marketed Dubai and branded it as a land of opportunities. You don't need to be rich to be part of Dubai, and you don't need to start. You can start from zero, and you still can become a hero. You have all the opportunities to achieve so, and it's a model that is maybe one of few in the region. You know, we are in a region that is being always famous of being insecure region, politically, economy. It's the region that has 20 million refugees. It's the region that has scarce water. It's the region that has 25% unemployment rate among youth. It's a region that's been always looked at as black spot. And all of a sudden, you have a success story coming from that region. So it gets highlighted. A lot of businesses came in COVID and located in Dubai because we kept our economy open. We managed the health well. We get the health actually dealt with in a way. We control the health side. We have few death rates compared to the international averages. But at the same time, we had our offices open. Dubai also invested in smart technologies. 20 years ago, the ruler of Dubai said, I want Dubai to be a city that never sleeps. I wanted to work 24 hours, 7 days a week. I wanted to be hospitable like hotels. I wanted to be punctual like banks. So there's been a lot of investment in digital. So even when we closed down the economy for a couple of weeks, we still had all the transactions happening. We had people selling and buying real estate, even from their homes in different countries across the globe. So it's the future competition is on talents, and Dubai has been really doing a successful job in attracting talents, and talents will bring innovation, and innovation will bring competitiveness.
I mean, before I let you go, I have to ask you the final question. There's so much pain in this world, so many people suffering, so many people going through hard time. COVID has shown us that nothing is guaranteed. Our life is not in our hands. One of the things you've shown us is resilience. You came from a place where everything was not easy, but you saw the opportunity, making it right for yourself. What would your message of hope to anyone out there who is really, really struggling and can't really figure it out on what to do next, how to make their day better? What would be your message to encourage them that there is light at the end of the tunnel?
If there is no pain, there is no gain. Life is difficult, but it will make us stronger. Welcome crisis, because there are opportunity to make you strong. I got COVID, by the way. I got sick for a couple of weeks, and then 6 months later, I got my vaccine, and I've been going through difficult times till now of vertigo and dizziness. But you know what? Life is worth living, and we keep resisting. We keep developing ourselves. To tell you the truth, most of strength I got from my pain journey, and most of success is coming from pain journey. Welcome pain as an opportunity to flourish. Don't look at it as something that will set you back, and always challenge all these negativity around the world. There's so much negativity. There's so much negative news everywhere, but we should believe in ourselves and believe that every day we live is an opportunity to show different. We show results. We take this life as an opportunity to leave our fingerprints, to leave our impact in a good way. So I call on everyone, please never give up. Never, never, never give up, even if it goes to the max. And whatever it gets to, there's always a solution and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Believe in that. We're going to get out of this and we're going to get out of more difficult stuff in the future. Just keep building the strength. Keep building it. All the best.
I mean, thank you so much. I really appreciate talking to you. This is an amazing conversation. You really shine the light that we can do it. No matter what challenge you're going through, it can be done. Thank you so much for your time.